Hi everyone, I've had lots of requests to put together a video following my shows on Create and Craft at the weekend. I did run through in the shows how to put the journal together, etc. But I thought it would be quite nice for those that didn't record the shows if I do a quick video kind of repeating what I did on the shows really, but just showing you how to put the journal together. And I'll show you all my samples as well and explain how this works. And also I'll run through the things that I bought to go with it, like I've bought notebooks and the elastic and the different mount boards and things like that. I'll explain all of that. So let's start with the die itself. It's called Journal, Full Size Journal. And basically the journal die is A4 size. So you can see the journal takes up part of the die. You've also got lots of extras, but the finished journal will enable you to put A5 notebooks in it. So let's talk about the die first. It's a Biggs die and it's a Biggs Plus die. So this die itself is kind of A4 size, which is 9 inches across. So you are going to need a machine that can take a die this size. So if you've only got a standard size Big Shot, you are going to need to upgrade and get the Plus or the Pro. Also the new Sizzix machine, which is due out fairly soon. I don't know a date. I know everyone's going to ask me for the date. I don't know the details of the release date, but I know it's sort of within the next few months. So that also will take the plus size dies. So the beauty of it being a plus size die means that you can have this bigger format. It couldn't be more simple to put together. You basically cut it twice. It's the same as the original journal really. If you've got the original Traveller's Journal that Eileen did a couple of years ago, it's pretty much identical to that, but just larger. So you've got the spine with the three different spines for you to put your notebooks in or whatever, and then you've got extras like a little pen holder and some a little swatch that you can put round to fasten it. As you can see on the packaging there, you can have this lovely tab through and it tucks in to keep it shut, and then you can pop your pen in as well. So lots of extras really with it. I'll show you the finished journals because that's the easiest way to demonstrate how fabulous it is to actually see some of the finished journals. So I'll just pop that to one side. I think this was the journal that seemed to be the most popular from the samples I made. So the journal itself, you can see, is a lovely size. And for this one, I've created my own inserts. Now, the beauty of this, if you're in the UK, we're talking about A5 sized. So that means you can just fold an A4 sheet of paper in half, and that's going to give you the perfect size for your inserts. Obviously in the US, there's not a lot of difference between US letter size and UK A4 size. So it's the same principle, you just fold it in half. I'll show you one with a notebook actually as well, because I bought some notebooks, and I obviously can't say when I'm on Create and Craft where I buy things, if you can't get them on Create and Craft. But I bought these in Flying Tiger. They're really quite pretty actually. They're like bullet journals, and they're only £2 each, and they're really quite thick and quite heavy. So if you want to be putting something like this in, you'll notice when you look at the holes that it is just a little bit, it would be wobbling about a bit. If you threaded the elastic through the holes and then put the journal in, it would be a bit wobbly. So a better way to do it is as I've done here, and that's to go over the top, and then you've got the whole length of it to tuck your book in. So if you thread it just slightly differently, and then you'll get 3 of those in here if you do it like this. So that's really substantial, and 3 bullet journals altogether is quite a lot of paper to work with. So if you like journaling, I'd definitely recommend these. And I really like the covers and everything. I mean, obviously you can alter them, but I like the colour and I love this dotty design. So definitely have a look at Flying Tiger for notebooks. The other place to check, I quite often get nice A5 books in Morrison's and Wilko's. So shop around. But yeah, if you just thread them slightly differently, then you can slot an A5 notebook straight in. So if you're making these for Christmas gifts or something, then that's a good quick way of knocking up some journals if you can get yourself a load of cheap notepads. So in terms of materials, because of course it's a Biggs die, you can cut through. This is mount board covered with felt. I just used actually I used the Sizzix iron-on adhesive, and I ironed my felt on, and then I die cut these elements with felt that had the iron on the back, so it was all just ironed on. You could also use double-sided adhesive sheets and get the same effect, but I thought the iron-on might be a bit more durable. We'll see how it goes. Obviously I only made this a week ago, so we'll see how it holds up. And then I use my Sizzix pom-pom maker just to pop a little pom-pom on. The other beauty actually of having these 3 holes on your spine is that you can add charms and things to the side, which is always a nice touch. So we've got the felt one that I've added notebooks to. This one I've created my own inserts. So I had some craft card, A4, folded that in half, and then I've just put holes at the top and bottom to line up with the spine, and I'll show you how to do that. And then this is a Tim Holtz die, these little edges that I've used to create tabs. So for this one I've just created I've created 4 for this one, actually 4 little notebooks, because the beauty of this die is depending on how you overlap your spines, because of course you're cutting the die twice and it's got 3 spines, so you can go up to sort of 5 really. If you want to make a thicker notebook, again you can chop these down. If you only want a really narrow book with just 1 spine, you can do that too if you just want to put 1 notebook in. So lots of flexibility. This one is Texturol. Texturol is perfect for these because it's a bit more durable. I've used nap board again, and again there's one of those bullet journals from Flying Tiger, and then just A4 Sizzix card folded in half. So that's the 2 different options, because of course you can mix and match. You can put a notebook in and then a couple of little books that you make yourself, or you can fill it with notebooks, whatever you want really. Matte board covered with Texturol does give you a nice durable journal. For this one I scrunched up the Texturol first to give a bit of texture, and then stuck it down onto the matte board before I die cut it. What else have we got? This one here I've kept quite simple. I've just covered the matte board with some navy cardstock. This is just Sizzix cardstock, and then this is all Sizzix cardstock from the Botanicals cardstock set. I thought the colours were quite nice with the navy. And then I've just added some dies on the front with some, this is a Tim Holtz Wildflower stems set. So quite a simple one there. Next up, this one I've created a little Christmas book. So I've used some patterned, this again is Botanicals actually, but this is patterned cardstock, and I've covered the front and back of the matte board with the card. And then as before, I've created my own inserts just by folding craft card in half and then some of the Sizzix cardstock, and I've created little tabs. These are the frames and borders die sets, so on each of them I've just created a little header, all ready to fill with my shopping lists and things. The cardstock in this set is from the festive set, so I've gone for kind of bright contemporary Christmassy colours there. So that's my little Christmas book, and then I've got one more to show you, and then we'll get on to actually putting one together. This one's a bit of a mixed media journal. I've covered matte board with the Sizzix Texturol in white. It's almost like watercolour card really, the Texturol in white. So it's a really good surface for doing lots of different techniques. And I've got texture paste on here. I've got some collage tissue paper, bit of stenciling there. I've got some washi tape. I've rubbed luster wax on it. What else have I done? Some spritzes as well, sprays. So yeah, lots of different things going on here. This is the Tim Holtz Perspective Butterfly. This has been cut from Texturol, so this is like paper leather really, so this isn't going to get scuffed. And then on this one I've used some Tim Holtz fasteners to pop the the little tab you get. Again, this is texture roll. This is the Craft Colour texture roll, so it's a bit more durable than card. And I've used the extra bits in the die, on the die, to create this. And then again, from Flying Tiger, I got this fabulous diary, and it fits perfectly. You do have to do the over the top with the elastic to get these A5 books in, but you know, I can get a whole diary in here, and I love this colour. And then there's another one of those bullet journals as well, so I've got room for another book in here as well. So, you know, really quite thick and sturdy there. Three big A5 books can fit in this one quite nicely. So yeah, really love this die. So that's all my samples. I'll grab my die back again and I'll show you some of the other materials and things that we're going to need. So I've grabbed some of the basic materials that you're probably going to want to use, apart from the notebooks and stuff we've already talked through. I bought a load of A4 mat boards on eBay. It was like a big assorted pack. I think it was about 50 sheets. And it just said assorted colours, coloured on one side, white on the other. And I thought, well, most of the time I'm going to be covering these with card. Or fabric or whatever, and I knew that they'd all be white on one side, so I thought, you know, if they were really groovy colours that I didn't like, it wouldn't matter, because I could have the white side on the inside and then cover whatever the colour is. So most of them actually were, it was kind of black and white, red, navy and yellow, so they're all perfectly okay colours really anyway. So obviously I could just leave this as is, but generally I'm covering these. So the things I like to cover these with, I like to cover them with felt. You saw that felt journal. The texture rolls are really, really ideal for this purpose, because it's like a paper leather. It's much more durable than cardstock. You can't really even rip the metallics. So, and this comes in a few different colours. Also, it comes on a roll, and you'll get quite a few journals out of a roll, because if you look at, it's 12 inches by I think they're 48, yeah, 12 by 48. So you'll get a lot, because of course an A4 mat board is going to go lengthwise, so you will get a lot from a roll as well. This is the rose gold. It also comes in gold. I haven't got a gold to hand. It comes in, so the metallics come in rose gold, gold, silver. Then it comes in grey, white and tan. Haven't got a tan to hand either. And then there's cork as well. I don't use the cork one very much. It's not my favourite. The ones I use the most are the rose gold, because I love rose gold, and actually the white, because the white, it's got that really durable texture, but it looks like watercolour cards. So if you want to add sprays and texture paste and things like that, as I did on one of those journals, then this is great for that. So I'd say the rose gold and the white are my most used. So the texture roll's definitely a good thing to cover them with. And when you're attaching whatever, your cardstock, your texture rolls, your fabric, adhesive tape, double-sided adhesive is a really good thing to use. Now I've been buying these A4 sized rolls. I bought some on eBay a long while ago, but more recently I've found them at, if you're in the UK, Crafty Devils have them, so I've been buying lots from them. They do smaller rolls as well, which depending on what other projects, it's quite good to have a mixture of different sizes, but these A4 ones are just perfect for these, because you can lay your roll out like so, and then just literally pop your mat board on top. So really quick and easy to use. So that's Crafty Devils for those if you're in the UK. If you're not in the UK, then you know, you'll find an equivalent. You can also get double-sided adhesive tape in A4 sheets, which obviously is perfectly sized to go straight on. So I think it's more cost effective to buy the rolls if you're going to do a lot of journals, but if you only want to do one or two, then yeah, you could buy sheets as well. Now the next thing that I've bought for these journals is elastic cord. And let me bring one of my journals back. So I bought two different widths. I've got 1.5mm and 2mm, and I've just bought black and white in both. So the 1.5mm is great for when you're adding your own inserts. It's a good, it's quite strong, but it's not too thick, because when you're going to thread it through all your individual pages, you don't want it too thick. And you don't want it any thicker than it has to be, really, because it's you know, it's nice when it doesn't show too much. However, if you're going to be putting in those big old notebooks, those bullet journals and things like that, you do want it slightly heavier, so I would say go for the 2mm, and that's what I've used for these journals, where I've gone over the top. There's not a huge difference between the two. Let's grab, so this is the 2mm, and then this is the, find the end, this is the 1.5. There it is. So there's not a huge difference, but it is quite nice to have the two different weights. Now in the UK, I found these, because I obviously make a lot of journals, I buy things kind of in bulk. These are huge rolls with 50 meters on, and these were £6.99 each. I got them from a company called Hot Pink Haberdashery. I found them online, but you can find them on eBay. And you can buy it by the metre. You don't have to go for a great big 50 metre roll. You can just buy a few meters of the different widths. You can also get it in lots of different colours. I've kept it simple because I do make so many journals, and I you know, I like to buy in bulk. I thought if I just go for black and white, then that kind of goes with everything, but you can get it in lovely colours. So yeah, do a search. If you just do a search for sort of 1.5mm elastic cord, it'll come up with all sorts of different options for you. So I think that's covered everything we're going to need to actually make one. So let me grab my machine and I'll just show you how to put one together. Right, so I've got my machine just behind me ready to go, and I'll just grab these two pieces of mat board that I had to hand. And I think we'll cover one with a texture roll so you can see how lovely that looks. Now I don't want this really bright red showing, so I'm going to put that face down on the adhesive, and that can be covered by my texture roll, and then the inside of the journal will just be white. The beauty of a Big Die is it will happily cut through this mat board, the texture roll, and if I didn't want a white inside, I could actually put some pattern paper on this side as well, and it would happily go through those 3 layers, no problem. One tip when you're putting double-sided adhesive on, don't go right to the edge, because if you really cover it, it's really hard to get the edge up, and of course your journal itself doesn't go right to the edge, so you're not going to accidentally you know, have an area without adhesive on if you line that up. So leave yourself just a little gap at the end so that you can pick up the backing tape easily. So we want another one for the back of the journal, and again I'll put it face down so that I've just got my white, and again I'm going to leave a little millimetre gap this side just so I can peel back the backing tape. I think these adhesive rolls from memory are about 10 meters long, so again they'll also last you for quite a few journals. So let's peel off the backing tape. So by giving myself this edge, it does make it easier. And that was that one, and then this one. Now for the texture roll, if you're going for a metallic, such as this lovely rose gold, you've got two options. You can pop it on as it is, which I will do. So we'll just line that up. And it's perfect because you will get two. Ooh. Don't put your tape straight down on it there. You'll get two like so. I'll leave myself just a little gap in between to run my scissors along. I'm keeping this one smooth, but if you want to, you can spritz this with water. If you just take a bit of take the texture roll, spritz it with water and then scrunch it up, then that's going to give you this more textured look. I've added alcohol inks onto this for a bit of colour, but you can see I'm going to have a nice smooth finish. But if I wanted this sort of leather look, I'd just give it a spritz and scrunch it up a bit first. So I'll just cut these apart. And we're ready to go. So I'll bring my Big Shot Plus in. And my die. So I just need one cutting plate underneath. And then I'm going to place my mat board shiny side down onto the die. Other cutting pads on top. And then run it through. There we go. And that's given me my journal front or back. And then I have got all these little extras. I've got a lovely little label. This is the tab that you can tuck to create that kind of fastener. And then there's another handy little tab as well. These are also great if you just want to put someone's name on here and have it on the front like as a label. So yeah, really handy to have those extra bits and bobs. And of course you can cut those from any materials as well. There are little springs on the die where the holes are. And you'll notice that all my bits of mount board have just pinged straight out. You do want to keep an eye on those with a big die. If you do see them not coming out, grab your craft pick and just ping them out. Because if you let them get clogged up in there, eventually it won't cut the holes properly. So you do want to make sure those are clear. But there are tiny little springs in there and that really helps. It's quite amazing actually. Usually they fly out of their own accord. I've got a bit of adhesive on here, but we won't worry about that. And then I'll just run this one through to give me the back. Ooh. Sorry, I've put my mat on top of a glass mat, so it's a bit slidey. The glass mat I usually use on my desk gives a real glare from my light when I'm filming. So right, so I've got a front and a back now. So I'll just move this out of the way and I'll explain how this slots together. So you've got your front and your back and your score lines are there as well, all done for you. Now, depending on how thick a journal you want, if you put them straight on top of each other like so, you can see the holes, so you know that that's lined up straight. So if you want to add 3 notebooks or 3 signatures, then you would line it up like that. But maybe you want a thicker book, so you can just slide it along one. And again, so you can have sort of between 5, 4 or 3. If you want a thinner book, you could just cut the ends off and just move it down to 2 or 1. So you've got real flexibility there. If you really wanted to create an even chunkier one, what you could do is die cut another spine on its own and lay it over or underneath to sort of tie these together. So you could even go up to 6 if you wanted to do that, but I think that would be quite crazy thick. But you know, anything's possible. Whenever you want, you can adapt it. I like to use red line tape for these. I buy red line tape in lots of different thicknesses. I think this is probably the right one. And then what you want to do, we'll go 3 over 3. So you just want to run this down each of the spines to make it nice and strong. And the beauty of this is, because these are overlapping, you're not relying on just this to hold it together, because as you've got both of these through and you thread your elastic to, you're almost tying them together as well. So it's kind of doubling up. And then I like to just put a bit on the top there, so that I've really got this covered. And this is nice and strong, this red line tape. So it will just peel away all these backing. Like so. And then I can look down and line those up. So, and now I have my lovely journal ready to add whatever I want to the inside. So let me explain to you about adding things in. So if you wanted to add in your own notebooks, heavy duty notebooks, say let's put this one in, and I mentioned you want to go over the top. So if you want to add in something heavy like this, then you're going to want your 2mm elastic, and you will thread through and then over the top, and then down, and then from the other side will come up. So we'll just snip that off, so like so, out the bottom, and then tie it in the center. Depending on what sort of notebooks you are using and how heavy they are, if you find this is sliding around, you could always even add some little notches at the top and bottom to sort of hold the elastic exactly where you want it. Just a tiny little notch would do that. But to be honest, because there's only that much gap, they don't tend to move about much. So that's nice 2mm thick elastic, so that's going to hold this nicely in place. So we'll pop that through like so. So that's a nice A5, quite sturdy notebook. But if you want to add your own signatures, then Eileen showed us a few weeks ago a really nifty little trick for that. And that is to die cut just the spine to give yourself a template. So what I did is I cut the spine, and let me just grab some card. So I cut myself one of the spines from craft card, and then I took an A5, well, an A4 sheet, folded it in half to give me what would be my pages, and then I lined up the spine. Obviously it was longer, and I kind of got it central, and I snipped off a piece from the top and bottom of this. So I now have a template that fits exactly on, and I've even put a little line there. So all I need to do is line this up with the fold, and then take a pencil and just put a little mark, and then I can take my crocodile and punch the holes. Now I use a crocodile. I've had this absolutely years. You can use whatever you've got really, whatever you like to punch holes with. If you don't have anything like this, just use a pokey tool, because what all you want to do is line that up. You just need holes for your elastic. So obviously it's going to look neater if you've got something like a crocodile, but equally a pokey tool will do the trick just to get your elastic through. So and then you'll repeat that however many pages you want to fit in. Let's see, for these little booklets I think I did 3 sheets, so that gives me 6 pages, and then I did the same with the craft for sort of the outside of each one. And as you can see, I could get a lot more in there. So it really depends what you want to put in it, you know, what you're using your journal for. I knew that for writing lists of Christmas cards and things, I didn't need tons and tons of pages. And what I might even do is add to each page some lined, just a little panel of lined card or something, so that I can write my lists more easily. So I like the colours here, but you know, if you want to make it easy for yourself, if you are writing lists and things, there's nothing to stop you putting in a little panel or something. So that's inserts, and to thread those through, you don't need the 2mm for this. The 1.5 is certainly more than thick enough. And I've got to find the end for this. Here we go. And for these, so you just want to go through your card, through the outside, then back in again, all the way through your card. And obviously if you've got you know, depending on how many layers of card, you would just thread it through and then tie a knot in the centre, like so. And what I love about this is, of course, you've got the freedom to put whatever you want in here. If you want this to be an art journal and you want to be using, you know, creating your pages from watercolour cards or something heavier, you can do that. And equally you can create quite thick books and put as many in as you want. So that's how to put it all together. So I'll add details of all of those in the description box. So if you pop along there, there'll be as much information as I can think of to add for you. I hope you've enjoyed this video and it's been useful. If you've got any questions, just leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.